Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Douglas Attila Jamali, and I am the infamous Doctor Who, as well as the Fed of the United States of America. I'm the one that protects the rich from the government and the government from the rich, where money doesn't control law and law doesn't control money. So in between is I, the Fed. This is where the United States of America has now failed miserably with its government. The government believes that it controls the money, and it doesn't. It's a private group, those that control the gold in Fort Knox. And our government has been trying to rip us off for quite some time, to the point in which I started to fear for the gold that we held inside of Fort Knox would be used for weapons of mass destruction. So I gathered up all of the notes of the 500 and went to Fort Knox and left only $4,500 worth of gold in there, approximately $27 billion of gold that was in there, right? And took the rest, of which I'm going to mint into real coins and denominations from $5, right? Excuse me, $10 to 500. So, as I said, the United States of America is now an invalid government, and its currency an invalid currency, no longer backed by anything, as well as the government currently has taken out approximately $25 trillion in loans upon my property. Okay. This, and the emperor's property as well, approximately 10% of the total assets of all of the emperors in the arena of $240 trillion. So when they did that, that broke every bank in the world and made them insolvent. There's no bank in the world that, with those loans under false credential, I should say, both false credential and false witness on the revenues coming out of those properties. My properties at 18 trillion started out with no more than a 10 GRM, mostly averaging just over 8. Now, with what they've done, and with COVID-19 and the loss in revenues thereof, they have sent most of my buildings at 14 to 20 GRM. Some of them they ripped off so badly, they got a 44 GRM and reported it as an 8. Okay? And this is ridiculous. So, with that being said, they ripped off with these loans in seconds $25 trillion, in which the currency system and the monetary system of the world will not be able to overcome. And so, therefore, as the Fed, seeing this, and my declaration of war, put the government in a catch-22, unless they recognize me as president, we're in civil martial law or civil war. And that means since the day that Trump took office, all title transfer is not going to be allowed. Okay? That means all of the money that they took out on those properties, right, since it's an invalid government, never has to be paid back. It's an invalid currency. So, with that opportunity, I give every American the opportunity as well, right, that if you owe something and now it's an invalid currency, you don't have to pay it back. That means every mortgage in America is null and moot for your home. You keep it outright and never have to pay another dime as long as I become the president, but that currency is worthless. So you can't pay back an invalid currency. It's not there. So that demands that I have to reissue the dollar and make sure that every American gets what they took us from in the bondage of Egypt. Most of you have been paying over and over on a 20 or 30-year loan for as much as 2,000 years, and they've been reaping on it and spending it. You understand? In the bondages of Egypt, that's where it lies in the heart. With a rollback in time, you pay again for 4 or 5 years, and it never goes down, and you're always paying it, and you wonder where all your money's going. So with that being said, as the next President of the United States of America, I have already engaged in fixing the solution, starting with Fannie Mae. I bought Fannie Mae. It was $5 trillion and gave every bit of the principal and interest anyone ever paid on a current Fannie Mae loan back to them. Right? So if you took out a $250,000 loan and there was $10,000 or $20,000 in interest, I gave you all back $270,000. They said, they said, by both Alan Greenspan and Dick Cheney, if there was one thing you could do to America to fix its economy, it would be that. Allowing all of America a vast more amount of money in their pockets than paying out to what have already paid for in full. All right. So, as I said, I'm going to reissue the dollar and the crown, and they're going to be backed by both gold, diamonds, and revenue-producing property. With that, I'm going to use, in the arena of the government, those assets to pay government services all for free, based on the fact that I give them enough revenue-producing assets that they can cover those costs in the profits and still have money left over. Meaning every government service in America is now going to be run by me at a profit. What do you think of that? Therefore, allowing me to say to every American, right, more services, better of them, and no taxes. So, with there is intergalactic cryptocurrency development, and how I'm going to show what is the value of a currency. And it all starts with me, a street performer, and a beggar, and going up through the guild. So let's start out with, what is the value of worthless money? Well, it's not really worthless, but then there is what is known as a beggar man's coin, right? In America, a beggar man's coin is $1 and under, pretty much, right? You freely would give that away with no problem. Most Americans can afford $1 anywhere, anytime. Change as well. Above that, then we go to the next level, right? And that's the street performer's cup, the entertainer. The next level up from a beggar man's coin is a toonie, the $2 bill, right? You don't see many beggars getting $2 bills right here, and especially in Canada. They'll hand you a one gladly, but not a two. So, therefore, they would hand a street performer easily, if it's a good show, a 2, a 5, 10, 20, even 100. But nevertheless, most people would gladly give a street performer $2. So that's the foundation of a cryptocurrency, and its value thereof, a beggarman's coin and a street performer's coin, and then the guild, right? So this comes down to professional services, and I said before, in an arena of a titty bar. Now, if you're in a titty bar and you were going to go up there and get change, would you use all fives? Probably not. Still use $1, but throw them gladly, right? At fives, well, they might notice you, and especially not with twos, they wouldn't notice you any more than a one. But at five, they'll be in front of you on that table in a titty bar, gladly accepting those notes. So that's the first level of a street performer's coin, a 5, right? So what do you think of that so far? So then we go to the next level, right? What our denominations are: tens, 20s, 50s, hundreds, and 500s. So let's start at the top with the guild, right? Right? $500 for professional services is probably appropriate for any type of contractor, construction, or anything like that. It starts about $500, and that's what is known as a what? A master's coin. Then going down from there, it's a $100 bill, right? Therein lies, again, at the titty bar. You got no problem. Well, if you want to say, you want to leave with me, I've got plenty more of these, and well, that's a professional service, of which, as an example, the titty bar, and outside of that, mutual consent for money as well. But at $100, that's about as low as you go in that arena, right? For a professional service. Now, as I said before, right, the next one down is the $50 bill. Now, in arena there, out on the street, right, we have the difference between, well, at $50 and $100 is, well, at $50, you can go fuck yourself with syphilis, right? At 100, right? Then you have the attention of any probably woman for a small amount of time. And at 500, well, you've got her for an hour, no matter what goes on, as long as it's mutual consent. Wouldn't you say, girls? Right. All right. So somewhere between 500 and what? 100 lies a median of the $200 bill to be issued in the next round of currency. So from a $100 bill, right, down to the 50, again, we're just talking about the guild. And in the guild for master server, grandmaster professional, you start at, $100, $500, and $500 increments probably, and $100 increments. And with the guild and any type of professional services, anyone here, well, will probably say the same thing to you with a 50. Go fuck yourself, right? So once again, my name is Douglas Attila Jamali, and I am doing intergalactic cryptocurrency development and trying to figure out what is the value of denominations and what we get from them so that we end up with a currency that doesn't inflate. In fact, may deflate because of this. That we know the value of certain things from $1 to $500. So, in there lies me, universe first citizen, and intergalactic bank accounts. See, I'm the first person to have and hold an intergalactic bank account that spans over 75 billion worlds, in which I get the beggarman's coin in each one of those accounts. And with the STC, right, that allows me then to unify all banking across those worlds so that when I turned on the STC, they noticed that in my bank account went to over $75 billion because there was $1 in each one of those accounts across 75 billion worlds. This allows me then to count the planets, and if they disappear in time or disappear in the present, that dollar disappears out of the account. And as we add new worlds, they add $1. This is the gratuity of what is known as what? A worthless coin, meaning that you would freely give to somebody without any problem in the arena of a beggar, street performer, or anybody who needs a dollar, right? It's a worthless currency or denomination of a currency out there in which you can give freely. So I'm going to end this right here now at 8 o'clock and send it up live. Thank you. Have a nice night. Oh, again, I have 75 billion worlds with $1 in them, and with that, I get the interest on that $75 billion, in which I'm going to give away to all of the people in a vast and assorted different ways as I bring forth a new renaissance, art, literature, science, and most of all, education. Again, from the Guild, I am starting out here in San Francisco with its IT infrastructure, and I'm going to make sure that if I, as Universe First citizen, can't hold a bank account and without having interference in and of it in intergalactic of the world travel, then no one can. It will be restricted to non-intergalactic and interplanetary travel because we can't carry our money with us. Once again, my name is Douglas Attila Jamali, and I'm the President of the United States of America by its laws and Constitution.